Hey everyone, this is Stuart again from LemonChip Gold Coast Web Design, here with yet another video blog entry to help you find your way around getting a website started. Once again, just to remind anyone watching that this isn't sort of a technical video for people that are into web design. This is sort of more geared for people that would probably be more likely to hire someone to put together a website for them. And the purpose of these videos is just really to give the customer, I guess, a bit more of an understanding of the process that's involved, because it can be quite baffling for a lot of people. There's a lot of funny terminology and things that gets used, and it can be pretty confusing. So this is just designed to kind of clear the air around that. So as you can see in this video, it's all going to be about domain registration. So in the previous video, I talked a little bit about, just sort of a general overview of the steps that are involved in getting a website set up. And if you have watched the previous video, then you would know that domain registration was the first step. So with this video, I'm just going to focus a little bit on that first step, domain registration, and just talk a little bit about the considerations that are involved when you are thinking of registering a domain. So in this example, sorry, I've lost one of my little things. There we go. In this example, well, we'll make it the same as the last example. I'm going to use www.mysite.com.au, and I thought I had this one prepared earlier, but it's since disappeared, so I'm just going to make this up now. So let's say you're going to register your domain name, mysite.com.au. Now this is essentially the first stage of getting your website set up. You need to have your web address, and it's not just as simple as just picking a name out of a hat, or just deciding on your favorite, pet's name and using that as the web address for your website. There are a couple of considerations, and the first consideration relates to excuse me. The first consideration relates specifically to what the name or what the keywords of your domain are going to be. So that's the first consideration, keywords. So when I talk about keywords, keywords relate to a couple of different areas, but probably most importantly are the way that your website will be searched in Google ranking, search engines like Google. So for example, let's say you have a business which is called mobile dog washing. So you're obviously going to be doing dog washes for a living, probably out the back of a van or a trailer or something like that. And what you need to do, obviously it would be foolish to go ahead and register a web domain for your site that's called, myfavoriteshoes.com.au, because it's completely irrelevant to the purpose of the website. Nobody's going to type in myfavoriteshoes.com.au and expect to go to a website that's all about mobile dog washing. So the first thing to consider when we're talking about keywords is it relevant to the purpose of the website? The other consideration is more in terms of how it will affect the SEO of the site, and SEO stands for search engine optimization. And in plain English, SEO is essentially about how your website and all the factors relating to your website are going to be ranked in terms of the various search engines on the internet. So, for example, let's use the dog washing business again for an example. If let's say you registered dogwash.com.au, or no, let's use something more obscure. Let's say you registered my poodle's bath time, poodlebathtime.com.au. What you've got to consider is what people are going to be searching for. What are they going to type into Google when they look for dog washing services? Let's say I'm a customer and I want to get my dog washed by a professional. I'm going to type into a search engine, I'm going to type in dog wash, mobile dog wash, mobile pet care maybe, and things like that. And if that's what I search in, all the websites with domain names and also content, a lot of other things that relate to what I've searched in, mobile dog wash, they're going to come up first. And poodlebathtime.com.au is probably going to get pushed way down in the rankings. I mean, that's a really simplistic way of looking at SEO, but that is a really serious consideration to make. You need to make sure that not only is your domain relevant to the website purpose, but also, is it going to be, ideally you want to try and get a domain name that has a keyword or a phrase that that your target audience, the people that you're trying to capture onto the website, are going to be typing into the search engines to look for these services. So that's a really big one, and it's worth spending a bit of time having a think about that. So the next one is the domain, I guess you'd call it the domain suffix, and essentially it's the bit that goes on the end of the domain. So when you register dogwash, your dogwash domain, are you going to get .com, .com.au, .net, .biz, .org? There's so many possibilities, a lot of possibilities, and you need to decide if you're going to try and get a .com or .com and .com.au, or just what exactly your strategy is there. Essentially, whoa, I've just lost the screen there. Let's bring that back. Essentially, if you're going for, if you're setting up a site for a business, then the ideal scenario is .com.au, because within Australia at least, that .com.au addresses are pretty well accepted as a bona fide business address. You can't register a .au web address in Australia unless you've got an ABN. So it's sort of like a subconscious checkbox when a lot of people are looking for websites. They'll say, oh yeah, it's a .au address, must be a business. So that's pretty much all I want to say about that. But it does kind of lead into the next point, which is cost. And look, the cost of your domain names shouldn't really be a huge concern to you, because generally speaking, they're going to be pretty much the cheapest part of the entire process. A domain name shouldn't cost any more than $40 to $50 at the absolute most. And costs of the domain names will vary based on a number of factors. The first of all, obviously, is the registration company that you use might charge more or less than another registration company. So that's an obvious factor right away there. But another thing is that a .com web address is a little bit cheaper than a .com.au web address, and some domain endings cost a little bit more than some others. But when I say a little bit more, I mean it might be a difference of like $5 or $10. So it's not really worth worrying about. Just pick the one you want and go and register it. If you're excuse me, if you find yourself freaking out about the cost of your domain name, then you've probably got bigger problems, because I mean if that's a really big concern to you, then you're definitely not going to be able to afford to put a whole website together, because I mean at the most the domain name is going to cost you $50, like absolute most. And so there'll be much more expensive things to accomplish during this process than registering the domain name. So I don't think you'll find yourself losing too much sleep over $5 or $10 extra for a domain name. So The last point I want to talk about, and this is, in my opinion, this is a really important point, but it's something that understandably a lot of people overlook, and it's the authorization code of the domain. Now, this is actually something that you get after you register your domain. So, let's say when I registered LemonChip.com, you register it, and you get emailed a confirmation, and they go, yeah, sweet, you're now the owner of that domain name. And then they say, oh, by the way, here's the authorization code for that domain. And what you want to do is you want to get that code, print it out or something, write it down, I don't know, store it in a safe place. Because essentially that code is the proof that that domain belongs to you. If, let's say, for example, you have some kind of problem with your website or the people that are currently holding your domain name for you. Let's say you have some kind of problem and you want to take it and park it with somebody else so that they can look after it because these other guys are annoying you or whatever. You'll essentially, well, the new folks that are going to take over control of the domain for you, they will go into their system. They'll have an administration system, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to put in a request to transfer over mysite.com.au into our control." And the system will go, "Okay, no worries. You want to transfer that domain? What's the authorization code?" Now you're going to give them the authorization code, and they will put it into their system, and the request goes out with that authorization code, and it doesn't have to, and basically the system sees that and it goes, okay, yep, we can see when this was registered that this is the code, and you've given us that code, so you're obviously the authorized person to be making the request on that, so here's the domain. And it doesn't have to, it's not a two-way process. Like when you put a request in to transfer a domain from someone else, it doesn't go and ask them like, oh, can you let me have this? It just takes it. So the process is really simple, but it's important that you have that just in case the worst happens and you end up in some trouble and you want to quickly take this off and move it to someone else that's going to service you better. It's really important to have access to this or to know where to go when it is when you need it, because a lot of people will register a domain and they'll just forget about it because it doesn't seem like a very important thing. And then when they do need it, they can't remember who they registered it with originally, and it's really hard tracking it down, and it can cause a lot of problems. So make sure you keep a hold of that authorization code. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, everyone, again. I hope this has been helpful. As always, please feel to explore the other video blog postings as they come up. They're all going to be really helpful if you're feeling a bit confused about websites and how the process all happens. If you've got any questions, please contact me. Check out the website at LemonChip.com, or you can contact me directly via email or phone or any of the other contacts that are listed on the website. Thank you very much again, and look forward to bringing you another helpful video very soon.